This is problem 9.12 from the Brigham and Houston Fundamentals of Financial Management Concise 9th edition. And this one's kind of whatever. We're given a required rate of return of 8% on this company stock. Using RS is what the authors are using. I use K for required rate of return. Given all the information, what is the value of their stock if the dividend just paid, D0, is 125, and we expect constant growth rates of either negative 2%, 0, 3, or 5? Okay, well, D1, well, let's start with D0. Write down what we know. That's $1.25. The growth rate, and we'll use the first one, negative 2%. That'd give me a D1 equals D0 times 1 plus that growth rate. So if D0 was 125 and it's shrinking at a 2% clip, then D1's going to be smaller. K, the required rate of return is 8% given in the problem. So P0 equals D1 over K minus G. All right, so given these assumptions, D1 divided by total rate of return minus a negative 2. And that'll give you a price for the stock given that assumed growth rate. So they give us 3 other growth rates to plug in. And that's the only thing that's going to change. If that was 0, computer's going nutso. Alright. If that's 0%, changes the price. If it's 3%, changes the price. If it's 5%, changes the price. Okay, so that's part A. That's the valuation under those different assumptions. Part B, using data from part A, what would the Gordon constant growth model value be if the required rate of return was 8% and the growth rate was 8%? It's not defined. Let's put 8% in there and see what happens. You're taking the price at time 0 is equal to the dividend a year from now, $1.35, divided by 0. There's no such thing as division by 0. It's undefined. If you're dividing by, if you have growth rate greater than the rate of return, that would imply that the stock has a negative value. You'd have to you wouldn't be willing to pay anything for it. Okay, well, and that leads into, are these reasonable results? No, they're not reasonable. They're stupid. If your stock is growing at 8%, then remember the price is growing at 8%. Under that constant growth rate model, everything's growing at 8%. It would have to be worth a rate of return at least equal to the growth rate plus something. Okay, so the rate of return is going to be greater than the constant growth rate because there's going to be some other intrinsic value of the company. If something's growing at 12%, you damn sure ain't going to require a rate of return of less than that. So part C, is it reasonable to think you could have a growth rate greater than the required rate of return? No. I mean, it's just not, I hate to say common sense, but finance really is common sense with math wrapped around it. So part B is just the authors making the point that the math doesn't work out, but in common sense that if something's growing at 12%, it would be at least worth 12% to you. All right, at least 12%, and probably more. So part B and part C are just stupid.